Hello there folks, Steve here. How's it going? Yes, yesterday I got asked very sweetly to play a couple of songs, so I did. I put them on. I just chose a couple of songs out of a hat. And to talk a little bit about my experiences on tour with the rock and roll band that I joined. And I thought about this a lot over the past, talking about the stories, but they're not really just my stories. We were a bunch of lads and lasses, and it's so to me somehow it's a shared story. So we're putting together the story. Maybe there's a lot of video footage and photographs, and maybe other people start sending in photographs and videos of those times. So the archive builds up, and maybe we put together a DVD of our experiences. Not that there's anything really exciting on video, the camera was always turned off when anything happened. But it was 1989, was it? Yeah, 1989. Joined a Lincoln-based rock band called Gypsy Moth in England, and me and a bunch of lads, we set out to tour. First of all to Germany. So we got in this, it was, what was it, a Ford A series van, box van, with like a roll-up sign, and like coach seats in the back of that, like 4 coach seats in there, 2 seats in the front and then a driver's seat. And there was 7 of us, 5 in the band and 2 crew, and all stuffed in the back of there. No plan, no idea, full of equipment, no space to sleep, nothing, taking tents with us, just completely into the unknown. And didn't know what we was getting into. Anyway, everything went okay. Got on the ferry, got across to Belgium, spent a bit of time in Belgium, then drove, Luxembourg, through Luxembourg, and then got to the Luxembourg to German border, customs control at Remy. And we got stopped there, and they took us one by one into rooms. Now I got took first into this little grey horrible room with like barred up windows and a table and a chair, and I was told to undress. So I took my shirt off and I took my trousers off, and I was sat there, and they came in and started looking at my trousers, every seam, every little inch, and my shirt all the way down, every buttonhole, looking, all the dirty stains on the neck, looking everything in my socks, they're pulling out the socks and all of the grime that's in there from travelling. You know how it is when you're on a long journey and you haven't got time to change your shoes, and your feet just get really, it was horrible in there. The smell was horrible, It was embarrassing. He like sweaty and then he's like saying, take off your underwear, and this is all in like a bad English, talking in a really strange German accent to me. And I'm quite afraid at this point. There's like one guy there with a machine gun or some kind of gun. I'm not an expert with guns. And the other guy with putting on rubber gloves. And I'm thinking, how far do you let this go? How far do you let this go? How far do you let this foreign policeman, officer, how far do you let him go with your body? In a way, I think it would have been better for me if it was a woman. There's 2 men in uniform there, I'm 20 years old, so for me it's like, I'm still in this frame of school thinking, where we was like indoctrinated to get undressed together, like an Animal Farm or something, and that's not my style. I'm not interested in that, showering with blokes, and there I am in this room with 2 cops, 2 police or 2 customs control, machine guns, rubber gloves, saying take off your underwear. So okay, I take off my kit, and I'm stood there stark naked in this room, and then it's just one thing after the other, like bend over and spread your legs and all of this shit, and I hardly got into the country. And I hardly got into the damn country, and I'd already had my ass searched. Totally violation, total. had no idea what was going on in that room. I didn't have any clue what my rights were completely left out of the blue. I'd seen this kind of thing on films. I won't get stopped at customs controls. And there I am, stood there in a locked room with bars on the windows, 2 foreign customs controls, and I'm stark naked, showing them my asshole. Very perverse, very kind of sick situation. Undescribable. It left me completely speechless after that, really. At first I didn't really think too much about it. I thought, you know, they need to do these things, they need the checks, like they need to make sure everyone's safe, and I suppose I am a rock star, you know, I probably am carrying drugs, which we weren't, you know, we didn't carry any drugs, you know. Rock stars are, you know, they're not that into drugs, you know. We have to get work done. You know, we didn't have any drugs anyway. We was completely clean. And it was 12 hours. They kept the whole band there, you know, one after the other, demoralising each one of us. And I can't talk for the other guys. I can only talk from my own experience. You know, 12 hours sat there in customs control with pulling out the van and pulling out of our personal equipment. And basically, to me, you know, it seemed like these 2 coppers were bent. These 2 customs control guys were a little bit kind of queerly bent, whatever, wanted to see some rock stars naked. Now, if they'd have said to me, hey mate, you know, what do you rock stars look like naked? I can guarantee the entire band had just dropped the keks. You know, we'd have had it on video, I'd have been showing you it now, you know. But not like that. Not with a gun, and not with rubber gloves. It's not funny, you know. That experience, I didn't realise how it had affected me over the years. You know, I have to fight that experience. I can understand how it feels for somebody to be sexually abused. You know, luckily I was not physically touched. I was constantly thinking in that room, if I'm touched, I think I'm going to scream for a lawyer or whatever you do in that situation. Back then, you see, I didn't know about law or how to assert your rights, you know. I mean, it's still not an easy thing, asserting your rights. And I mean, that's why I'm making videos like this. Thing is, though, you know, like every time I was in a room naked, you know, I found a lovely woman and I'd be there, you know, good mood, and then suddenly start to take my clothes off to have the, you know, the nice experience with this woman in a exotic environment, and suddenly, out of nowhere, in my mind, there's 2 border control police in the corner of the room with guns and rubber gloves. You know, it doesn't take long to ruin the mood of the situation. So every time them 2 guys appear, I get annoyed, you know, and the only way I've ever been able to fight that kind of little mind fuck is to just see the whole system that's controlling them as sick. Because if I have aggression towards those 2 persons, those 2 sick people, those 2 sick customs borders control officers, I could build up a real anger and aggression towards those people. So much that it's like a vengeance that I would dedicate my life to. But no, it's the system that brought them there. It was the system that put them there in that post. I've been past that post years after year, different times, and the same customs controls place is now open. There is none. People just drive through. You know, so that initially traumatized me, but basically now it's just created a great anger for that system, for a system that puts suspicion over human rights, that grants a government and all of its civil servants, all of the government servants are granted the right to abuse you and me and each other, physically and mentally. So this is my rock and roll story, you see. When people want to hear, you know, about how I maybe took 3 lines of cocaine and fall off a stairs, didn't do it. Didn't do that. Not all the time. But, you know, we had crazy stories. And I'm not going to tell them. They'll be in the DVD. $19.99, whatever. But fact is, this is important to me. I put up a music channel as well. And I thought I'd put music on there. But to be quite honest, I want to make live music. I'm kind of just reproducing more and more music that can be played at home. You know, it is good. I love listening to new music, but I want to be out there live. And this video is a brilliant way of transporting these messages. And even if it doesn't go out to many people, even if you just see how angry I am, at least you know that you're not alone with your own anger. Even if you see that, you know, we've all got these little problems and stuff. Because with people, I think, to see inside you and me, it's quite simple. The inside's quite simple. But it's the box, the armour, the protection that's screwed and clamped on, the masks that have become fixed and rigid. And we need those masks, and we need to keep changing those masks to work for our advantage. But then suddenly realise that we have to take that mask off to reveal the true self, our true self to our true self. Otherwise the mask just gets stuck on. Does that make any sense? I don't know why I just said that bit. Basically, on my rock and roll, you know, people think rock stars are like really crazy, but really it's the fans that are really, really crazy. It's just that the rock stars get to meet a lot of crazy fans, and there you go. Crazy stories. You know, it's amazing. So you know, I get to meet a lot of people and I hear a lot of crazy stories, and they're all kind of got one thing in common, you know, that we're all loving people. We're all like amazing gods of the universe. We're all lost children of this universe, trying to find each other, but not accepting things, not accepting that we don't own somebody, we don't own this, we don't own that, you know. We always want to own stuff, we want to be proud of stuff, we want to trust stuff. You know, but if you think about it, if you want to make somebody proud of you, or happy for you, then you're going to have to make yourself happy. You're going to have to allow yourself to do some crazy stuff. You're going to have to wear some shirts and take a button off and, you know, just do something. I don't know, even if it's simple. You know, but you notice how many people pick up on simple things. And that's what it's about, really. That's what it's all about, folks. So yeah, that's enough for this video, isn't it, eh? I just want to say that I love you all deeply at the bottom of my heart. I find it hardest to love myself. I mean, there are a few weirdos about in the world, but I've actually been able to understand them more than anybody. So thanks a lot for listening to my little story anyway. I know it was a little bit of a serious story, but there's much more serious stories in the world, and I have this platform, and I want to be there for people. I want to be there for people. I'm not there for toys. I'm not there for games. I'm there for people. And so, my love goes out to you all. Have a good time. Make it better. Turn off the computer. Turn your eyes off. Close your eyes. Listen to some music. Relax, and just take half an hour. Alright, cheerio. Thanks for watching and listening. Have a good time.